you avoid. I'm doing it again. Remember how I said that I'm finally free of running 2 callings at the same time for Orilium? Remember that? G announced postgraduate programs. When I put it like this, it sounds worse than it actually is. I still got my double master's blah in Fairway cartography and demonology, but now G is like, what happens after? I was of the firm opinion that I'm going to start a new calling this year, and I'm going to take it easy with like 4, maybe 5 prompts, not 13. And then the postgraduate stuff happened. So I looked into it and I was like, okay, yeah, I can always just do another calling. I don't have to do the postgrad stuff. I looked into the postgrad stuff and the postgrad stuff looked interesting and doable. So now I'm doing the postgrad stuff. But not only that, I'm also double dipping again. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm double dipping again. To be fair, G said we don't have to finish it in just a single month. You can bet your left ass cheek that I will try. So I looked at the things and I made some calculations and I came up with 2 different TBRs for 2 different postgrad thingies. One of them is really easy. That's probably why I decided I want to go with another one at the same time. Which then I looked at the concept of time in the form of a calendar, made me realize, oh shit, it's actually still a challenge. In total, I'm going to read 9 books, which is a slight reduction of your usual 13. But the page count is exploding because the way this whole postgraduate stuff works is that you have to reach a certain page count. All of these pages need to belong to books that fulfill a certain set of prompts. G explains it. Go watch the original announcement video. Anyway, I have 2 TBRs. Let's go through the quick one first, because the first one I'm going to do is I will go the postgrad route of the world builder, which wants me to read 2,000 pages. Easy peasy. I don't get a reduction for my failway cartography or demonology for that. So I have to read 2,000 pages now and 2,200, I believe, in the autumn equinox. And one of the things that the world builder says you need to read these 2,000 pages of is comics, mangas, graphic novels. So I said to myself, fuck yeah, easy peasy, gotta do that. My first thought was to just do a complete reread of Soul Eater, which is 25 volumes. All of them are 192 to 208 pages long, except the last one that is 248 pages long because it's a bit thicker. So that would put me somewhere that I think if I read all of Soul Eater, I would get both of those semesters in like one go. But then I decided, why reread an entire series when I still have so many other mangas unread on my shelves? So I pivoted and I made a little Frankenstein map of the graphic novels and mangas that I need to read in order to fulfill this. First and foremost, the first massive volume of Naruto. This is over 700 pages. This is almost half of what I need to become a world builder. I put this on my 12 and 12 for this year on this very weirdly, oddly shaped bingo board of pain and suffering, I guess. I will just read all of this in one go. I think there's like the first 5 volumes or something. How many chapters is this? Okay, yeah, so this has the first 33 chapters of Naruto. Do I have to tell you what Naruto is about? Well, Naruto is about this boy, his name is Naruto, and everyone in his village hates him, so he is obnoxious and wants to be the very best, so that people cannot ignore him anymore. And there is like a whole bunch of power escalation stuff, reasons. I don't know. I'm bad at explaining what Naruto is about. It's Naruto. You should know what it's about, and if not, you know how to use Google. I have the utmost faith in you to Google it. Don't you use ChatGPT, that's bad for the environment and bad for your brain. Use Google. So, this is going to give me 700 pages, and it's going to knock one read off of my 12 and 12. Cool. Then we are going to have a returning offender with Spy Family Volume 6 and Spy Family Volume 7. I love Spy Family. It's about a guy who gets a secret mission, and for the secret mission he needs to infiltrate a school. How does he infiltrate a school? Well, he gets himself a kid, not knowing that this kid can read minds. And then he also needs a mom for that kid, so he fake marries a random lady he met in a shop, but turns out that lady is actually a serial contract killer None of these people know what all of the other peoples are. No one knows the dad is a spy. No one knows the kid can read minds. No one knows the mom is a killer. And no one knows that their newly adopted dog can see the future. In the last volume I read, we were introduced to this lady, and she promises a whole lot of chaos in this story. I have 2 more volumes in my possession physically, so they go onto the list. These are 200 pages each, so now we are at 1100 and something pages. Then I have Brutal Volume 4, which is the story of a murder investigator. Like, he works for the police as a murder investigating detective, but he also is a judge, jury, and executioner in his free time when he meets people he thinks are assholes, and he kills them in very creative ways. There is no real overarching story in here, sadly. I would love to see him having to try and evade his own police force. Alas, it's just little chapters of bad people getting very brutally murdered. Very cathartic read. Again, this is the last volume I have in my possession physically. I think there are 5, maybe 6 volumes altogether so far. I only own up to the 4th one, so I'm going to finish out reading this. And this one is 178 pages, somewhere around that number. Then I have volume 2 of the Elden Ring manga. I love Elden Ring, and I jokingly picked up the first volume of the manga, read it, thought it was hilarious because it takes this very... If you think about it, the story of Elden Ring is very serious. It's like just a very serious fantasy story. And the manga does not take it serious at all, and I love that. So I picked up volume 2 because I was thoroughly entertained by volume 1, and the art style is also just amazing. Look at this. Like, it's very detailed, and it gives you just enough lore for shit to make sense if you know Elden Ring. If you don't know Elden Ring, it probably is a bit more complicated and a bit more, let's say, confusing. But if you know Elden Ring lore, it's just hilarious. Like, we're getting Alex, and if you don't know who Alex is just a giant pot. That's Alex. He's not even a person inside. He is the pot. He is the pot. And he gets stuck in a hole, and you have to knock him out of the hole because he can't get up on his own. It's hilarious. I love it. And that is, I believe, also around like 178 pages or something. And then I have volume 2, 3, and 4 of My Hero Academia, which are about 200 pages each. And I mean, My Hero Academia is another one of those. Do I really have to tell you what it's about? It's about a bunch of kids having superpowers and going to school to become superheroes. And then social commentary happens, I guess. When the anime first came out, I was like, nah, this is too popular, I'm not gonna watch it. Then I watched it and I fell in love with it, and then at some point I just bought the manga. I think it was when we got confirmation that this is like the last chapter or something, like pretty much when the manga was done in Japanese, I started buying the volumes. And I have 4 volumes here. I only read the first one, so I'm going to read 2, 3, and 4. Yay! And because they are also 200 each, this is a total of 600 pages for my counter. So we have, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1,000, 1,700, and these are 170 each, so we are well over the 2K pages in terms of manga, comics, or graphic novels that I need if I read all of these. And this is what will make me a world builder. Well, this is what will get me through the first semester of becoming a world builder. This is the easy part of my TBR. Now let's move on to the hard part of my TBR, because just being a world builder and taking it easy on myself is boring, right? That's boring. It's 2,000 pages, that's easy. It's 2,000 pages of mangas, that's also easy. So I need to make it harder on myself. The bane of my existence for the past 4 years doing Orilium was demonology, because I had to take it so many times. The entire time it was the worst prompt ever. For a hot second I thought, I could become a demonic correspondent. I already suffered. Why not suffer some more? Why not make it useful suffering, right? And then I didn't do it. Instead, I followed my Game of Thrones obsession and picked Draconology, the Dragon Studies. And not only that, but then my first thought was, okay, but what if I make it all dragon reads? I have to read 4,000 pages. No, it has to have a dragon or fire on the cover, or the words Sky of Lie in the title. There are bonus qualifications, which then gives you the opportunity to add the prompt of the current animal studies or elemental studies into it, which is an important point because I am capitalizing on this semester's animal studies, which wants me to read something with a wolf on the cover, in the title, or inside the book. So there will be wolf-related things on this list, but I had an entire stack of like 8,000 pages of just dragon books. Problem being, I would have started like 10 new high fantasy series with that. Don't question my math. So I pivoted and started to optimize my TBR because, as you may know at this point, I am trying to get the number of started series down this year, not up. So I had to do a bit of optimization. Doesn't mean there are no dragons on my TBR. There are quite a lot of dragons on my TBR, actually. Remember how I said I won't do a total reread of Soul Eater because why do a reread when I can read books that are actually on my to-be-read pile? Yeah, I abandoned that logic for this TBR because I want to reread Battle Mage by Peter A. Flannery. I love this book so much. Why am I saying book? Because the German publisher did this thing again where they split one book into two. The English original is 824 pages. The translation had to be split in two because this is almost 1,500 pages. And I will be reading the German edition to get the sweet, sweet page count bonus. 300 pages are important for this one. Remember, I want to do it all in 1 month because I know absolutely no peace. So I will read Battle Mage books 1 and 2, but if you read this in English, you only have one book to go with. What is Battle Mage about? Battle Mage is about a boy. He is kind of ostracized from his society because his dad did a very magnificent oopsie. Put a pin in that. That will be important later. And this boy, he's like very sickly and it's not very, like, people just don't like him because of what his dad did. He never did anything, but his dad did a thing. People hate him for it. And in this world, we have demons, and demons are slowly taking over the world. There is only one specific kind of person that can actually help fight against these demons, and that is a battle mage. There are also normal mages in this setting. They think they are the coolest and the baddest bitches on the block, but the battle mages are what actually keeps people fighting against demons, because these demons are not just killer machines, they also invade your mind with like an aura of absolute depression, and while you're stuck there lamenting about your own existence, they kill you. And a battle mage has the anti-aura to that. They can spread an aura of honor and vigorment. I don't know. They can push that away from the demons. Problem being, there aren't many battle mages left. And not only are there few battle mages to be found in the first place, the second problem is all of these battle mages need to pick a dragon. They call, once they finish their training, they call on a dragon, and then they bond with the dragon, and that is where they get their incredible powers from. But the dragons change colors when they age. The older they get, the darker their scales become, and once their scales turn black, the dragons turn insane and start killing everything and everyone. And if they are still linked to a battle mage, 90% of the time they will also try to kill the battle mage, or the battle mage becomes insane with the dragon, which is a big problem because they are so fucking powerful. And we follow this boy. His dad was a battle mage. His dad's dragon turned black. They both went insane and bad shit happened. And now the story starts and we figure out this boy is also a battle mage. While the threat of the demons marches forward, we follow this boy become a battle mage. And in the meantime, we also crack some secrets left, right, and center. There's a bunch of characters in here. We mostly follow this boy, but there is a strong supporting cast of characters. And my god, I need to show you this. Do you see the tabs? Do you see that the tabs are only in the second half? This book comes in 2 parts. The first book in German comes in 2 parts, and the first 250 pages are so cinematic that I forgot to annotate. I forgot to tap the things that are interesting because the first 200 pages was so cinematic. This is one of the few stories that made me cry. I was not okay by the end of it, but it has been years since I read this, so I really want to reread this because Peter A. Flannery came out with the prequel story to this where we follow the dad that went insane. It's called Battle Mage Aquila, and I have it. Not in the German translation. I have to read the English original for that because the German publisher hasn't yet decided if they want to translate it or not. So I just got myself the ebook and I want to read this. I have not read this one yet, but I really, really, really want to read it because the setting, the world building, the magic system, everything's just so great. I need more, and getting more in the form of something that I know will end in tragedy when the book that had me crying at the end exists. I am not ready for this, but I'm so here for it. This one is about 600 pages, if I'm not wrong. So just reading all of the Battle Mage books out there is going to give me a huge push in terms of page count for this. And it's filled with dragons. Then I am going away from the dragons for a hot second because I am going to read an anthology, a trans horror anthology with Lupus in Fabula? Fibula? F insert letter here, Bula. And like I said, it's a collection of 13 horror stories written by trans authors, and it features trans horror themes. That is all I know about it. This is 190 something pages long. Checking my notes, 163 pages long. It's very short, I know, but I can fit it in and it will push me over the threshold that I need in the end. And as you can see, there is a wolf-like creature on the cover, and lupus is the word for wolf, I think, in Latin. And after reading such chonkers as Battle Mage, I need something shorter, something quicker to just mix things up, I guess. Still no dragons, but this time we agree with the original prompt on the Dracologist list again, with Red Skies Falling by Alex London. There is the word skies in the title, therefore it counts. And this one is the second book in a series that I started a while ago. It's a YA series about birds. In this world, birds are very important. The first one is Black Wings Beating, I think. And we will continue the story in Red Skies Falling. In this series, we follow two siblings. One of them can, use wind magic, bird magic, some sort of magic, but she never really used it because she spent her life taking care of her twin brother, who had this talent to A, get in trouble, and B, he was the punching bag for their abusive father. And then things happen in book 1, and now I think they are actually being split up because one of them has to go to point A and the other one has to go to point B. Something like that. And there are a lot of birds involved, and an enemy nation is kind of creeping over the mountains, and they want to wage war, and I think they don't like people using birds. Something like that. That book is 432 pages long, so another good bit of page count for me to read. This next one will not make sense until I show you a close-up of the cover, because I will also be reading The Undermining of Twyla and Frank for the prompt of have a dragon on the cover. Now from here you might not be able to see a dragon, but if we zoom in, do you see that? Do you see that? I will put a picture up so you can see it better. I would call that the silhouette of a dragon. Therefore, there is a dragon on the cover of The Undermining of Twyla and Frank. Therefore, I will be reading The Undermining of Twyla and Frank, which is the second book in the... I don't know if the series has a name, but it's book 2 after The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which is a fantasy Wild West rom-com with zombies. Or at least there were zombies in book 1. I don't know if there are zombies in book 2, because technically we solved the issue of what made the zombies in the first place. But yeah, it's a fantasy western rom-com, and I loved book 1. I love book 1 so much. So I am looking forward to book 2. There's not much more I can tell you about this other than it's fantasy western rom-coms. Brilliant concept. And this one clocks in at 377 pages. Next up is another book that I have to utilize the animal studies for with the wolf, because I am going to read The Wolf and the Woodsman by was it Ava Reed? I think it was Ava Reed. For 430 pages. I am going to be very honest here. I only put it on there because it is a fantasy read, and I was feeling a fantasy read. It fit the prompt that I needed to fulfill, and it is a standalone. I had it on my radar, but I was never inclined to read it like right now, this second I need to read it. I just knew I wanted to read it at some point when I felt like it, and now it just happened that the stars aligned and it fit the prompt, and it was a standalone, so I didn't have to start another 10-book fantasy series. Going to be completely transparent here. Which also means I don't know what it is about. I just know it has wolf in the title. But I heard great things about this one specifically. A lot of people say it's a really great book. And I've heard great things about Ava Reed in general. Even though I don't remember what this one is about, it was on my lists at one point. So past me probably thought this was a book I might enjoy. Okay, I apologize if you can hear screaming in the background. There are just two teenage girls video calling someone, and apparently we have to scream at the phone in order to hear each other. Another book I know absolutely nothing about, not even the author's name because I forgot to write it down, is For She Is Wrath. Again, I don't know the author's name. For 396 pages. I lied. I know one thing about this. This is apparently a Pakistani fantasy retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo. How you are going to retell The Count of Monte Cristo in under 400 pages, I know not. But here we are. And to be quite honest, I did not have that on any of my lists, but when I looked up, like I was specifically looking for standalone fantasy books that fit into the prompts that I needed to fulfill, and this one came up and it sounded interesting. So I went and picked it up. Sorry, not sorry. And this one fits the dracologist stuff because there is fire on the cover. Fire! And the last read I have is another dragon book, I believe. I think it's a dragon book. There is at least a dragon shape on the cover, but it also has the word sky in the title, so it fits either way. And that is The Sky on Fire. This one, if I'm correct with this having a dragon in it, would be a triple hit because it has sky in the title, a dragon on the cover, and it's a standalone fantasy book. So, yay me for landing the jackpot, I guess? And this one is 448 pages long, and I know absolutely nothing about it. I know it had, like, for a hot second, there was, like, a bunch of people on, like, the BookTube sphere that liked it, or at least were promoting it as an arc. I don't quite remember. But it was there. It had, like, its 15 minutes of fame on BookTube. And then it went away, and I never heard anything about it. But I remember distinctly that this promotion worked on me because I looked at it, and apparently I liked it because, again, this has been on my lists for quite some time now. I just never picked it up until now. So now I have it, and now I will hopefully read it. And believe it or not, that brings us to the end of my Orilium TBR. The second half is so much more impressive than the first half, and yet I can only hold up 3 books out of the 9 I'm going to read. I have a very well-filled e-reader. I am not even sorry for that. I am actually excited to read all of these. For once, Orilium did not give me a complete headache when coming up with my TBR, even though I put more research into this. Like, it's hard to describe. I put more research into my TBR this time around than I ever did before, but somehow I feel more confident about this TBR than any other TBR I had before. Like, usually when I make my TBR in the middle of the month right after the video drops, the next 2 weeks I'm switching things around only to then not read half of the books I put on there. This time I actually feel confident in wanting to read all of those, being able to read all of those, and I'm genuinely excited to read these books. The mangas, the books, everything in between. In total, that brings me all of this to over 6,000 pages I have to read, which is so much. My record of most pages read within a month happened last October of 2025, when I accidentally did a 31 and 31. And I think I reached 6,900 and something pages in that month. So having this be around 6,000 pages already, it makes me kind of scared. But also the 31 and 31, I read shorter books. I did not commit to like 11,000 pages of the same book, basically. But like I said, I am very excited for all of this. If you made it to the end of this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below if you are participating in the magical readathon. If not, fair. Also, if you are participating, let me know what you are doing with your character. Are you doing post-grad yet? Just let me know. What is your calling? What is your post-grad stuff? Let's talk. Let's chat. If you don't want to talk to me, leave a crystal ball or the wizard. Have a wizard ponder the crystal orb down in the comments below. And yeah, I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye!